Right now at 5, a child hit and killed as he tried to board his school bus. His family reeling from this heartbreaking accident. They're providing new details about what happened.
Plus, dealing with mentally ill inmates. A new ruling by a judge could significantly change the way our state's prison system operates. Senior reporter Jack Kinsey breaks down this complicated case.
And much more comfortable out there this afternoon. I'll tell you when things will really warm up in a few minutes. Your News at 5 starts now.
Investigating the stories that matter to you. Live from Columbia in high definition. This is WIS News 10.
A tragic accident. A child hit and killed as he tried to board his school bus this morning. It happened in the town of North in Orangeburg County. That 6-year-old little boy was hit by a pickup truck as he was crossing the street. His big brother just steps ahead of him. Tonight, WIS has learned the bus did not have its warning lights on, and it did not have that stop sign on the side of the bus out at the time. All of that according to state troopers.
Tonight we have live team coverage of this story. Jennifer Emmert is standing by in our newsroom. First, let's go to Megan Norman in the town of North with new details that we just learned about the child. Megan.
Dondi and Judy, family is still here gathered where 6-year-old Zion Tolan was hit and killed early this morning. Just a few days ago on Saturday, they were here again celebrating his 6th birthday. Now, earlier today, Highway Patrol was out here recreating and investigating exactly what happened. Around 7:15 this morning, the school bus was seen parked on a dirt road just off of this main road on Highway 178. Troopers say a black Dodge pickup truck hit Zion. Troopers say, as you mentioned, Dondi and Judy, the bus's flashing caution lights and stop sign were not activated at the time. Zion's grandfather tells me Zion was crossing the street with his older brother when he was hit. Family members are still in shock.
I was at school and my phone was going off and they was just like, he got hit by a truck. And I was like, Zion? You sure Zion? Zion's only 6 and he got hit by a truck, and it was crazy. I used to keep him with my nieces and nephew all together at my mama's house, and it was crazy how he just gone like that. Like, I never see him again.
Now, Highway Patrol is still investigating, so they tell me it's still too early to determine if any charges will be filed. I've reached out to the school district to determine if the bus was following its normal route and if it was following proper bus protocol, but I have not yet heard back. For now, live in North, Megan Norman, WIS News 10.
Megan, can you still hear me? I want to clarify something for our viewers and for us here back at the studio. Was his brother already getting on the bus, or had he just crossed in an attempt to get on the bus once the bus stopped? Because we're trying to figure out about the lights and the stop sign not being out yet.
Right. Well, if you can see behind me, I know it's a little difficult, but I'm right down the road from the grandfather's house. That's where the 2 boys every day would board the bus. The 11-year-old crossed the road from what the grandfather told me and was about to board the bus that was parked on that dirt road. Zion, the 6-year-old, was making his way across the road. The grandfather told me just steps away from the other side of the road when the black Dodge pickup truck hit Zion.
Norman, live there in the town of North. All right, thank you so much for that report. And the troopers now are trying to continue investigating the issue with where the lights supposed to be on at this point, the stop sign out. We're digging a little deeper into that. Our investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert is in the newsroom with the laws that she found and what you're supposed to do as a good reminder when you see a school bus on the road. Jennifer.
Well, Dondi, according to the Department of Education, last school year, 8 students were hit by another vehicle at or near their bus stop, and 1 student was hit by a bus. There are some strict laws put in place to make sure these types of crashes don't happen. Take a look at some video we found on YouTube from a group called Save in the Upstate. It shows drivers passing stopped school buses illegally and a near miss. In all 50 states, it's illegal to pass a bus when the vehicle's red lights are flashing. The Department of Public Safety's diagram shows when drivers should stop. On a 2-lane road, drivers behind the bus and coming from the opposite direction must stop on a flashing amber or red light. On a 4-lane highway or private road, drivers from the opposite direction aren't required to stop, but motorists behind the bus in both lanes are. The penalty, if you're caught breaking the law, 6 points on your driver's license, a fine of up to $1,000 or 30 days in jail. Now, the school districts themselves have taken some steps to put safety measures in place to protect students at bus stops. We'll take a look at some of that information coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. In the newsroom, Jennifer Emmer, WIS News 10.
All right, Jennifer, thanks so much for that report. A man is in a Columbia hospital after the Highway Patrol says his car was hit after he tried to beat an oncoming train. It happened at the intersection of Augusta Highway and Watling Road around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Troopers say the 93-year-old man tried to cross the tracks after those arms were down. The rear part of his car was hit. The driver was taken to Palmetto Health Richland in serious condition. The Highway Patrol is investigating. We turn now to a developing story with new reaction this evening to a court ruling that could force major changes in our state's prison system. That ruling supports claims filed by advocates for a group of inmates who have mental illnesses.
Senior reporter Jack Kinsey joins us in the studio. And Jack, this is really just a very disturbing story.
Especially disturbing, Dondi and Judy, because according to the judge who issued the ruling today and the plaintiffs, the people who filed the lawsuit, hundreds and perhaps thousands of mentally ill inmates could have received inadequate and in some cases inhumane treatment over the past number of years. This suit was filed back in June 2005, a class action initiated by a nonprofit called Protection and Advocacy for People with Disabilities. The plaintiffs alleging the South Carolina Department of Corrections had failed to provide services to inmates with serious mental illnesses to the point that failure amounted to cruel and unusual punishment. Now, the lawsuit finally went to trial almost 2 years ago, the lead attorney for the Corrections Department arguing that while SCDC's mental health system was not perfect, it was, as he put it, a far cry from a system that violated inmates' constitutional rights. But in his ruling today, Circuit Judge Michael Baxley says the evidence says the department has known for more than a decade that its mental health program is systemically deficient and exposes inmates to a substantial risk of serious harm. Baxley says, in fact, on the second page of his 45-page ruling that inmates have died in the prisons for lack of basic mental health care. Now, the director of Protection and Advocacy hailed the court ruling this afternoon.
We're extremely pleased with the reaction. You know, we're so glad that the judge validated the concerns that we've had for over a decade and that were made public during the trial a couple of years ago. We hope that it'll have a major impact on the treatment of the seriously mentally ill who are in corrections.
So far, there has been no official statement from the Corrections Department. The state could appeal the ruling, but Judge Baxley and the plaintiffs are hoping that does not happen. In fact, the judge says the hundreds of thousands of tax dollars spent to defend the suit and to appeal would be better used to improve mental health services in the department right now.
Interesting. All right, senior reporter Jack Kinsey, thank you.
All right, Jack, thanks so much. Former State Representative Thad Byers in court today. He pled guilty to a charge related to the harassment of his former girlfriend. Byers will spend 60 days in prison and will then be on probation for a year. Byers will serve that sentence on weekends at a county jail. Burglary and larceny charges against him have been dropped.
Officials in the upstate are investigating whether 2 deaths are the result of cold weather. The body of one man was found in a field in Gaffney yesterday morning. And in Spartanburg County, a 56-year-old woman was found dead after spending the night outside. Well, this Arctic blast is slowly easing its grip. Yesterday, we showed you fountains were freezing as the temperatures dipped into the teens. The weather is warming slightly. Our chief meteorologist, John Farley, is in the Weather Center tonight with, well, John, what we would call good news as perhaps we're about to fall.
It's a warm-up. Yeah, we got a warm-up going on here. I'll show you. This is a look out over Lake Murray. Clear skies, the wind doing nothing, and the temperatures have warmed. Check it out. We're still hanging, many of us, into the mid-40s. So that's a far cry from where we were yesterday at this time. And over the next several hours, what's going to happen? Well, it'll be cool, but nowhere near as cold as it was last night. Eventually, we're going to start to pick up a breeze light coming in from the northeast. Now, with that northeast wind, well, what it's going to do is going to make things a little on the cool side tomorrow, but not the bitter cold that we just saw. We will see plenty of clouds, though, I'll tell you that. Tomorrow morning, how about Newberry? 28 degrees at 8 o'clock, so certainly you still need the warm coat. By noon, we're at 42, and then by tomorrow afternoon, long about commute time, that's when we're going to start to see some showers come out of the northeast, or come out of the the winds will be coming out of the northeast. The showers will be riding up over the top of them, and temperatures in about the mid-40s. So I know past couple of days we've been talking about temperatures warming into the 60s. That is going to arrive, but it's going to take a few more days. I'll tell you when that happens in a few minutes.
All right, John, thank you. Well, it is official. Yesterday's cold weather pushed SCE&G customers to a new limit. They set a record amount of power for a single day. More than 101,000 megawatt hours were used yesterday. That news comes as the utility company is asking customers to conserve power and take precautions to keep down utility costs. Yesterday, thousands of homes experienced power outages and rolling blackouts because of high energy demands.
New details today in an overnight armed robbery in Forest Acres. Late last night, Forest Acres police say 2 men went into the pizza joint on Forest Drive. One of those men armed with a handgun and hit a woman in the head. They robbed the store and customers of money and personal belongings before taking off. Now, investigators tell WIS today one of the witnesses actually started chasing the robbers, but that ended when one of the robbers fired a shot at the witness. The witness thankfully was not hit. If you saw any of that going down last night in the Forest Acres area, call 1-888-CRIME-SC.
Still ahead, a multi-million-dollar renovation.
We have plans for the new and improved Panthers Stadium. What fans are saying about the facelift and what they hope it will attract to the stadium.
And later this half hour, the one place on earth that will make your brand new TV or phone look outdated. We're at the Consumer Electronics Show, and you're not going to believe the new technology being shown off. Well, forever a Gamecock, former USC defensive end Jadeveon Clowney is thanking fans, coaches, and his teammates for a great time at the university. Clowney released a letter today which reads in part, "It is hard to believe that the years have gone by so fast and my time here has come to an end, but I will always carry you with me in the NFL and wherever I go in life. This dream would not have been possible without each and every one of you, and you will always be in my heart." Clowney is expected to be one of, if not the top pick in this year's NFL draft.
Well, tonight we are getting our first look at the multi-million-dollar upgrades at the Panthers Bank of America Stadium. The plans were unveiled yesterday. Leaders claim the $65 million project will make that stadium shine again. Dedrick Russell has this story all new.
Take a look at the new and improved Bank of America Stadium. The upgrades include several wide escalators.
The movement of fans into and out of the stadium will be a lot more accommodating and quicker.
It also includes a better sound system, 2 new ribbon boards that will allow scorers to travel all around the stadium, and 2 200-foot wide video monitors. That's nearly 3 times bigger than the ones in place now.
As we have an 18-year-old stadium, that in $65 million is going to put it right at the top of the league again.
We showed Panthers fans the plans.
Oh, yeah. That looks great.
I think it's probably time for a renovation.
Some say the fan experience will be heightened just because of making things bigger and better.
New things are great. It'll draw more people, more crowd from elsewhere into Charlotte.
They seem to think the upgrades will increase Charlotte's chances of hosting a Super Bowl.
We need a Super Bowl.
But officials claim the stadium is not preventing the big game from coming to the Queen City.
The critical element as far as that would be concerned would be the infrastructure from a hotel standpoint. We think the stadium would certainly meet all the criteria with all these improvements.
Many voiced their concerns about tax dollars being used to fund the renovations.
Well, I know there's a lot of controversy about that.
But Panthers officials say they are happy for the support.
Well, I think it's a great partnership. It's a great investment.
Now, this is just phase 1 of that great investment. It will take 3 years for all planned improvements to be finished. But one fan believes the stadium could have saved money by keeping things just the way they are.
When you get a diehard NFL fan, they're going to come here regardless.
Work is set to begin in 2 weeks. It should be complete by July. During the work, that stadium will be closed, meaning no functions at all will be held there. Well, not nearly as cold as it's been the last 2 nights, but still a chilly night in store.
Cold weather is certainly loosening its grip. Chief Meteorologist John Farley's in our Weather Center to tell us more about that. John?
Yeah, ladies, that's exactly the way I'd put it. Loosening its grip. We have temperatures now running about 15 degrees-ish, warmer than they were yesterday at this time. Still cold, but not the bitter cold. Now, we'll talk about some records that were set yesterday. Also, a little rain in our future. but there's warm there too. We'll cover all of that after the break.
A couple traffic incidents to point out as you head out and about. There's an object on the roadway at I-20 West at Broad River Road, causing some confusion there for drivers. Also, a disabled vehicle is a little bit in the way on I-77 South at Bluff Road. That's exit number 5. Do be careful, everyone. Check of your weather now. Here's our chief meteorologist, John Farley.
Thanks, Dondi. Thought I'd start you with a little bit of fun here. There's a shot from Chrissy McMahon. She said at her house this morning in Elgin, it was 18 degrees. And so she and the kids decided to do the little bubble experiment. She was the one that went outside, she points out. But nonetheless, at 18 degrees, the bubbles, they in fact did freeze. Kind of cool. Now let's talk some records about this whole thing that came through today, yesterday, this cold snap. Caesars Head State Park, that's up in Greenville County. That got to 5 degrees below zero, and you're thinking that's cold. You're right. The last time in South Carolina that it got that cold was way back in 1986, so it's been several years since we've seen numbers that cold. Now, the next thing to talk about here is Charleston hit 33, and why is that important? Well, we ended up going right by it, but the idea was that Charleston was the only official station in the entire state that actually got above freezing yesterday. Now let's show you what's going on here, and what you'll see is, well, temperatures not bad. We're into the mid-40s and feels pretty comfortable, certainly comparatively. What's going to happen here going forward? Notice the coldest air is now where it really ought to be at this time of year. Minneapolis over to, say, north of Buffalo and Boston. So we get a pocket of cold air that's up here to our north. And what'll happen is that cold air, some of it, most of it's going to stay there. But as we go during the day tomorrow, we're going to get into one of those wedge situations where we do have that cool air spilling down from the northeast, and it'll come down the east side of the Appalachians. So we will get some cool air through the day tomorrow. There'll be clouds on top of that cool air, and as we head, especially late into the afternoon and evening, we'll likely see a few showers come in over the top. Not bitter cold, just cool, you know, talking about temperatures in the 40s. Here's the forecast for tonight, down to 28. We'll get those late clouds. Tomorrow, north, starting out at 28, but again, with the clouds in play all day long, we'll see temperatures climb to around the mid-40s. A lot of clouds, evening showers. Here's a look ahead as we go forward here. Friday, a few showers here and there, but the real warm-up gets in here on Saturday as a pretty aggressive front comes in. We'll get a good soaking out of this, but before it arrives, we'll get some pretty strong winds out of the south. Temperatures well into the 60s. Should clear out nicely for the second half of your weekend, and early next week looks fine as well. We'll be right back.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by Jim Hudson Buick GMC Cadillac. Save up to $10,000 off a new GMC Sierra pickup. See dealer for details.
The Consumer Electronics Show is in full swing today in Las Vegas. An amazing display of the latest technology and tools, the things that literally will shape our future.
Jay Gray is covering the convention with the coolest tech on the show floor.
It's the wow, the WIS that draws so many in.
I'm looking for the large TVs, the 100-inch and up, 4K, 8K.
But behind all the hype and the hurry to get to the future here, there's a growing theme. The Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things, that's been around, yeah.
Internet of Things, absolutely.
It sounds cool, I guess, but what's the Internet of Things even mean?
It means my eggs talk to my smartphone. It means everything that in my life I can control, or at least know about.
Well, sort of, but let's break it down a little more. The Internet is, well, the Internet. And the things are everything we use in our daily lives, connected to work better and more efficiently.
We're always having to help a dumb machine get a little bit smarter.
And now with cameras, sensors, and Wi-Fi, your washer and dryer, your refrigerator, dishwasher, stove, and even your vacuum can all talk to each other and to you.
You'll text back and forth with your fridge or your washer.
Meet George Jetson.
As cartoon predictions become reality, there's nothing funny about the revenue it could generate.
By the year 2020, we're going to see an infusion of about $2 trillion of economic stimulus into the worldwide economy through the Internet of Things, through connected devices.
A connection that, like technology, just keeps growing. Connectivity that comes into play when you use the new Manual. It'll clean your rugs, your floors, and then find its way back to its docking station, or this WinBot that'll clean your windows both inside and out. Jay Gray, NBC News, Las Vegas.
All right, Judy. Talking to my vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
Please have the house vacuumed before I get home.
And all the washing machine and dryer need to learn how to also fold the clothes.
Please fold my clothes by the time, let the dogs
seriously.
out. I'd like dinner on the table. We'll
Just
see if
program
it's done.
your life.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens.
Coming up in our next half hour, we continue to track the deep freeze. Finally easing up here.
Please make it warmer.
I know, right? We have new information tonight on crops here in South Carolina, how they have been impacted by the cold. We'll tell you how that may also affect prices at the grocery store.